Welcome to No Stages Podcast, episode number 8. Today we're visiting with a couple of racers from the Viasat team, Tyler Hoffman and Greg Twitty. Tyler, Greg, thanks very much for taking the time to chat with us this evening.
You're welcome. Glad to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Now, Viasat, I remember you back in the day when corporate really got started. It wasn't 8-person relay, it was corporate relay. And Viasat is one of the few teams that really fielded a team where everyone worked at the same company. Um, do you have any knowledge of those early RAAM teams from Viasat, either of you?
Yeah, in a little bit. I think their legacy somewhat precedes them. Probably the most notable team was the 2012 team that went 5 hours, 5 minutes, and 5 seconds, and I think that was the fastest 8-man course record at the time. Obviously been broken since, but yeah, there's been a long-standing tradition of these 8-person relays, and it's been a bummer that we haven't been able to participate in the race recently, but we're really excited to be back this year. I mean, kind of keep the torch alive, so to speak.
Yep. Greg, one of the things I remember from the first year that Viasat raced was the Viasat follow vehicle had a camera in it and was live streaming. And I mean, that was brand new back in the day. And it was so exciting to sign on to the RAAM page and just watch you guys going through. And it was really exciting. You added a real element of technology that made the website really fun to watch because there was no dot watching back then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a corporate advocate or a salesman or anything, but yeah, I think it's great that we can actually take our technology. I mean, that's not why we're doing it. We're cycling fans and cycling enthusiasts first, but we're able to take our technology and kind of put it to work during the race, and that's really exciting.
Really a question for both of you. Again, your company really seems to support cycling. What's it like to work for someone like that? I mean, that's got to be really positive.
I think it's positive. You know, I've only been at Viasat for 3 years now, but I've been in San Diego for 20 years, and throughout that time, I've actually, like Tyler said, the lore of Viasat RAAM participation looms large in our community, and I've heard of it for many years. And so I was really excited to join the company, not just for RAAM, obviously, because it's a great company to work for, but yeah, it's super exciting that there's so much enthusiasm, long-running enthusiasm. So it's kind of easier for us to sell these activities internally, right, to our managers and to finance and stuff like that, to perpetuate what we've been doing, what has been, happening for so long. But there's kind of a buzz. And so, when I'm in the lunch line, the cafeteria here, I'll bump into people and they're like, hey, I heard we're training for RAAM, and that's exciting. And so everybody kind of knows, or many people know about it. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of like there's a certain buzz about it in-house.
Yeah, and you guys, the corporation's always been super supportive, and I know, a lot of the work you do is with government, so you have resources tied up, but when you've had them, you've certainly helped us out with some of the internet streaming capabilities, and it's been fun to have you guys be relatively local to where we're at starting and have your support out there racing. And I know internally you guys have had a lot of support. Did you guys have tryouts again for the team this year?
We did. We used the Palomar East Grade as our team time trial. You got to go up and down it. It's 11 miles up. I think it's about 3,000 feet of elevation gain. And this year, because we're kind of relighting the flame, we did only get 8 people to submit a time. That being said, every single person that submitted a time is an absolute hitter on the bike. I was very pleased with who showed up. So even though you know, the participation for the tryout was a little lackluster. I think it's going to build a lot of momentum when people see what we can do this year. And yeah, I'm excited for years to come now that we're kind of trying to build this momentum again.
Yeah, I
What
think
are
the
your
key
goals
there
this
was
year?
that, sorry.
No, go ahead, Greg. Sorry.
I think the key there was that the time trial was up and down, right? So you had to show your climbing prowess, but you also had to show your power, right, in motoring on the descent, you know, which is kind of a gradual descent. So it's kind of simulates maybe some of the riding through the plains, et cetera. So
What are the team's goals this year?
I mean, first and foremost, it's always just to get all 8 guys across the country in one piece. So that's our number one goal, is just to finish the race. I think I have a goal to get on the podium, potentially win if we can. I think the 2017 team, which is the last RAAM that we participated in, they won and had a very strong showing, and I think that's kind of the caliber of rider that we're coming in with this year. And so my goal is to try to improve upon their average speed or their time. And yeah, just see, you know, kind of put a little bit of a challenge back to those guys that did it back then, and see like, hey, the new crew has just as much talent as the legacy guys.
That's the way to throw it at the old guys, like make them suffer a little bit, make Larry and Chuck and all those guys like really wish they were back at Viasat.
That's right.
You know, one year that I think one of the years you guys didn't race, it might have been 2013. You had 2 teams race across the West, and I believe it was your Southern California office racing your Colorado office, which was pretty funny. That was some entertaining racing right there. So you might have to go 2 4-person teams someday.
Yeah. So I was on that race across the West team for the Carlsbad office, and that was really fun because it was like you said, we were having trouble getting the full 8 people to do RAAM, and so the Denver office they got their 4 guys together. And then they kind of sent the beacon out to Carlsbad and was like, hey guys, look, we got 4 riders. What do you got? And so we were able to scrounge together some talent in Carlsbad, and I think they were kind of, you know, making a little fun of us because we're out here on the coast. We train. We've got some rolling hills, but we're not at the elevation of Denver, right? And they're like, oh, we're gonna crush you guys on the way out there. And Carlsbad laid the hammer down, and I think we got them by about 2 hours. So that was satisfying, but it was, you know, it was cool because it brought us all together. It was a fun little rivalry for the time. Super fun.
Greg, do you have any personal goals?
My main goal is to make sure that everybody gels and has a good time and enjoys themselves. I mean, maybe not in the moment always, because there will be some pain and lack of sleep, etc. But I'm really heartened by having not just a bunch of great racers, but a good group of crew that's going to devote a bunch of their time to support us. And I don't know. I mean, everybody's excited about it. Everybody has their own thoughts, but I'm excited that they're excited, right? I'm glad that that there's this esprit de corps, and I just want everybody to, you know, to enjoy themselves and think that this is a worthwhile thing, because we want to propagate this activity certainly into the future.
Now, Tyler, all the racers are from Viasat. How about crew and the crew chief?
So we have probably about 50% of the crew being from Viasat. We did have to pull in some, you know, friends and family members to build out our 9-person crew. But yeah, I mean, we even have Larry Bice coming back out of retirement and into the follow vehicle for this year, it's really exciting. to have him on just because he gets to share his wisdom. And he was kind of the guy that started the whole thing at Viasat. So that's a nice touch to this year's crew.
And when did you select the team? When were the tryouts?
I believe the deadline to submit the time was January 1st. So we locked it down at the beginning of the year. And I think historically we like to lock it down a little earlier than that. We usually shoot for like Thanksgiving weekend, but we were, having some leeway so we could gather enough interest. But yeah, we've been gelling and having weekly meetings and kind of preparing for this thing for coming up on 6 months now.
Now, if you had only gotten 7, would you have done the 8-person division with 7 people, or would you have done a 4?
That's a good question. Because it didn't happen, I don't
There we go.
know what we I don't know what we would have done.
I wouldn't put that question out there yet. Let's wait till we start.
Yeah, we still got to get to the start line with 8 people.
Still a lot of moving parts.
It is a lot of moving parts, and it is pretty cool that you can tap into the resources at Viasat like that. That is pretty amazing. How many of the, so obviously you have racers and crew from the company. Are you guys all the same department division? Like, how often do you cross paths on a daily basis?
Pretty frequently. I interface with a couple of the guys pretty regularly, and of course, there's the cafeteria encounters, but most importantly, there's the Friday and Wednesday lunch rides where we don't run into each other, we ride with each other. I think we're all pretty familiar with each other's work, with each other's projects. Maybe we don't delve into each other's work on a regular basis, but we know what each other's doing, and sometimes our paths cross. And
but we are fairly spread out as well. I mean, we have the blessing of having Alexander Beaulieu come back this year from our Switzerland office, also known as the Yeti. And we have some people that are working remote in Arizona, up in LA, and then I think there's 4 of the team are local to the Carlsbad office. So we're spread out, but we do, we communicate regularly, and every once in a while we're, interfacing on actually the same projects. But the company is so diverse in what it does.
Right.
There's not always the same amount of crossover in what everyone's working on.
It's actually one of the cool parts about this activity, because we get to learn a little bit more about Viasat and our different projects through, spending time together on the bike.
How often has the team gotten together to get in a couple of training rides? Have you been able to assemble all 8?
We are unable to get all 8 until the week prior, just because Alex won't be able to fly out here until the week of the race. I think the biggest team ride we've had is 6 guys so far. But at any point throughout the training period, I feel like everyone has cycled through. Of those 7 guys that are in the continental US, they've all stopped by the Carlsbad office, and we've gotten a few of us together to go on lunch rides.
That's awesome. So you've got some real good team building going on.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a dedicated Slack channel that has a lot of conversations going on it on a daily basis.
And when we're bored with our work project, sometimes we'll dabble in that and goof around talking bikes.
That never happens. The work is never boring at Viasat. It's always fun, and you don't waste time at all talking.
It is always fun.
That is true. That is true.
No, but on some of our new members or younger members, some of them don't have a whole long history of cycling. But like Tyler said, we've been riding with these guys occasionally, and I'm really amazed at their capabilities and skills. With having so minimum amount of experience. But I think we're gonna, in the moment, gel and come together. And, from other activities that I've done, team events and stuff, you seem to rise to the occasion, and the esprit de corps takes hold, and you seem to kind of elevate your performance a little bit higher. So it's exciting to see new guys, come into the sport and get excited and see what they can do. It kind of adds energy, I think, to the whole experience.
Well, I think your tryout is scary enough as it is. All right, just tear it up, Palomar, and we'll see where you end up.
Yeah,
it's always sketchy up there. Yeah.
We have a notoriously fast Friday ride as well, so I think we give people the impression of what they're about to get themselves into when they join the Viasat cycling community. We do have the occasional no drop ride, but we do like to keep things spicy when we can.
There's always a little competition happening out there. That's the way all group rides go. It's the no drop ride that really pushes your limits.
That's right.
Well, we are really excited to have you back at Race Across America. Look forward to seeing you at the start, and much more excited to see you at the finish.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. And I believe we look forward to seeing you at Viasat's RAAM number 12, I think. It's been a few starting in 2006. So thanks for your time, and we look forward to catching up with you in Oceanside.
Great. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Happy to participate.
Tyler Hoffman and Greg Twitty from Team Viasat joining us on No Stages podcast number 8. For Rick Boethling, I'm George Thomas.